Okay, now, folks, I want you to listen to this. My memory was correct, as usual. This is November 20, is it 2009, Mr. Producer? Bloomberg News. A medical debate over breast cancer screening that has turned political may set the tone for a battle over President Barack Obama's healthcare overhaul that will resonate for years. The furor over a federal panel's recommendation against mammograms for most women in their 40s shows the obstacles the U.S. may face trimming costs in a $2.5 trillion health system, even when research suggests the cuts may be appropriate. Yeah, right. The bottom line is Republicans on the Hill went nuts. You were furious about it. And so they pulled back their magnificent research. I guess the same people researching global warming came up with this. Now, knowing that history from 2 years and a few months ago, that this administration was going to pool support for mammograms for women in their 40s and above based on their new research, knowing that, now listen to Obama on Friday. Cut one, go.
Because of this law, preventive care is now covered. And yes, that includes preventive care for women, checkups, mammograms, birth control. We fought for this because the top doctors, the medical experts in the country said this kind of preventive care saves women's lives.
Oh, stop. Now we've gone from contraceptives to checkups and mammograms. He's expanding it out to claim this saves women's lives, therefore he is saving women's lives. Do you understand what I'm saying? The language is crucial. The way that these guys present themselves, these utopian statists, these fanatics, is very important to understand. If Barack Obama had not been president and there was no Obamacare, does anybody in their right mind believe that checkups and mammograms and birth control wouldn't be available? Did we suddenly come up with these notions of checkups, mammograms, and birth control, which he fought so hard for? The question is, who pays for these things? And it's not just checkups, mammograms, or birth control. It's for cancer treatment and medications, and new medical technologies, and bypass surgery and stents, and medicine for diabetes, and care for autistic children, and I can go on and on. The question isn't whether the government has given us these things. The question is, how does society pay for it, provide it? How does society even come up with the medicines and the technologies to deal with it? And so what Obama has done is he's hijacked this. He wants women to think that mammograms, birth control, you can get these things now thanks to him. This is what we've become. That's why I spent the earlier part of this hour explaining what a constitutional republic is supposed to look like. The same president that has the power to quote-unquote give you a mammogram has the power to quote-unquote take it away, as he almost did, according to this Bloomberg piece, and I recollected it, November 20, 2009. Remember? Unbelievable. So this is what the campaign's going to rest on. Obama, Dr. Obama, handing out freebies. Now let's go to cut 2. He's still at Minute Maid Park. I assume it's named after the orange juice, or what is this, Mr. Producer? Do we have any idea? Minute Maid Park? Oh, it's a facility. They must have paid for, the, the signage and so forth. Cut 2, go.
I know the change that we fought for hasn't always come as fast as we'd like. And after all that's happened in Washington, sometimes it may be tempting to start feeling cynical again and think maybe change isn't possible. But I want you to remember what we used to say during the last campaign. We didn't promise.
Yeah, we used to say, what? What did we used to say? Spread the wealth? I'm going to lower the oceans? I, me. Let me just stop there a second. We'll continue this. I know, and this is a constant refrain here. I know the change that we fought for hasn't always come as fast as we'd like. Now, keep in mind, he's unraveling this society at breakneck speed. His bureaucracy's spitting out regulations left and right. He's burping out executive orders left and right. There's all kinds of change going on. Anxiety, undermining, destruction. It's just not fast enough. Don't be cynical. It's just not fast enough. What does the president have the power to do these things? To change America? The president has a role, powers that are granted to him. He doesn't have plenary power, open-ended power to change America. What do we call that, Mr. Producer? We call that despotism. Go ahead.
It's easy. You never heard me say change was easy. Real change, big change is hard. It takes time.
Yeah.
It takes more than a single year, a single term. It'll take more than a single president.
There we go. You see, ladies and gentlemen, change requires so much. More than a single term, more than a single president. Because you see, folks, we can never fully accomplish what it is that we're setting out to accomplish. That is this fantasy. So change is never fast enough. It's never big enough. It's constant. This is why you cannot have a constitutional republic in this kind of philosophy. This is why you cannot have a constitution that is complied with in this kind of a president. Or Congress, Democrat Congress for that matter. They're all about change. And change what? Change us. Change our country. Change the nature of man. Change the individual's free will. So it's not free or his will anymore. Change. More and more centralized power. Consolidated power. Not fast enough. We got to hurry up. We got to do it as quickly as we can. One Congress passed Obamacare. And as I said last week, and as I said at the Reagan Library, that Congress is gone. The Congress that put in place Obamacare existed for exactly 2 years. It's gone. They lost the House. They got beaten up in the Senate. That Congress, that supermajority Democrat Congress is gone. They did their will. They put something in place. This president is running with it at breakneck speed, trying to institute as much as he can, regardless of who wins the next election. Because change, ladies and gentlemen, is constant. Now, we're not talking about change in your individual life or career with your family. That's an individual. You can change, you can progress. That's perfectly fine. That's how people evolve. That's how societies evolve. But that's not the same thing as a government constantly changing in order to smother the individual and the individual's ability to grow and to evolve and to progress. See, government's not an individual. And when you read Woodrow Wilson and when you read the experts, quote unquote, that he read, when you read Plato's Republic, they treat the government as an individual human being. A human being that has to keep growing and has to keep eating and drinking and nurture itself at the expense of the people, at the expense of the individual, the real individual. And this is what you hear when you listen to Obama. So as I said at the beginning of this hour, he has no constitutional authority to do this. Period. There would be no constitution and no nation if Obama way back then had had his will. That's number one. They would have viewed it as despotism, and they would have been right. Number two, Obama's not providing anybody with checkups and mammograms and birth control. If it's free, we are. But the fact is, checkups, mammograms, and birth control existed long before Obama was president and would exist with or without Obamacare. But now he positions himself as the great leader, the great martyr, for you women in particular. And it'll be minorities next. And it'll be men another day. It'll be whatever it has to be. Did he lower the oceans? No. And he's not going to. The man can't even allow for drilling to lower the price of gasoline, and he's lowering the oceans. He's not providing a damn thing. And then we get to the utopian statism, which is what he's talking. This is his language, the utopian statism, right here. That's what he's talking about. They said you couldn't have this, and I provided that. Excuse me? You know, it would be really cool if we could unleash our private sector economy, have respect again for private property rights and independence and success, and reward people for that so more people have jobs and can pay for their own mammograms and birth control and checkups or anything else they want. Wouldn't that really be cool? Because that's how our country's supposed to work. He's not giving you, quote-unquote, anything. He didn't create, quote-unquote, anything. He's stealing your liberty and he's stealing your property. And then they wave these things in front of your face like somehow it's worth it. What price liberty, ladies and gentlemen? A condom? Let us go to Maria, Scranton, Pennsylvania, the great WTRW. Go.
Yes, I would like to know, since you have very much aware of what Obamacare is, if you have a company whose members are shareholders without employees, does Obamacare apply to them at all?
Obamacare will apply to everybody.
To everybody, not just to a company that has employees.
Are you talking about like a family-owned business?
Yes, where everybody is an owner.
No, what they'll do to you is they will destroy small group insurance. You understand what I mean? So you won't be able to get it because of Obama's running around saying, see, I'm paying for mammograms, see, and checkups, and see, birth control. Well, when that happens, when you have small group insurance, the bills increase at the insurance company level. And they'll increase, for instance, your premiums 10%, 20%, 30%. Then pre-existing conditions are covered. Then kids up to 26 and including 26 are covered. Then there's no cap on it. They drop the small group insurance. That's how they drag you into Obamacare through the back door.
Now, if it was a large company and everybody was a shareholder in the company without employees, would something like what they're doing to the capital?
Well, I don't know of any. I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but none come to mind, although I'm sure there are some. But the bottom line is that if you're a large company and you have employees, it may pay for you to drop insurance and force people onto these state exchanges. We'll be right back.